Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to I Care About You, the podcast where we dive deep into your own personal journey, transforming, figuring out who you are as a person, moving beyond things that have held you back. I'm your host, Juliana J, and today we're exploring a transformational journey, becoming high vibe by embracing your true self and releasing the weight of others' expectations. If you've ever felt the pressure to conform, I mean, who hasn't, right? To meet standards that don't resonate with your heart, this episode is for you. We'll delve into what it means to be high vibe and how to let go of external pressures and how to cultivate a life filled with joy, love, and authenticity. So find a comfortable space, take a deep breath, and let's embark on this empowering journey together. So I first want to discuss understanding high vibe. Like, you hear high vibe a lot. What does that mean? Being high vibe refers to operating at a higher frequency of energy, embodying emotions like love, joy, gratitude, peace. It's about aligning with your authentic self and radiating positivity, not in a toxic way, in a way where you still accept life and all the things that it's handing you, both good and bad, and all the things outside of yourself that are challenging, are hard to understand, or downright tragic. It's about being able to hold all of that authentically. Oh my gosh, what is with me today? Authentically hold all of those things in a space of love, joy, gratitude, peace, understanding, compassion, empathy, all of these high vibe emotions and ways of being. High vibe living isn't about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to respond to life's ups and downs with grace, compassion, resilience. That's really huge. It's a commitment to personal growth and emotional well-being. It's being able to see other people and their hurt and acknowledge that and be with that rather than just glossing it over or being angry at people who are doing things that you don't like. And I want to talk about the weight of others' expectation. From a young age, we're often conditioned to meet expectations of family, society, peers, school systems. While guidance can be beneficial, it becomes burdensome when it suppresses our true desires and identities. Living under constant pressure to please others can lead to feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, disconnection from oneself. It can lead to feeling worthless, to not feeling like you have any value. It's essential to recognize while these expectations no longer serve our well-being, and to find the courage to let them go. Sometimes this is hard because so much of this we've carried with us from childhood, and we've never thought twice about it. We just use it as guiding principles, how we should be, how things should be. I mean, I followed this for a very, very long time, up until maybe a decade ago. I really tried to subscribe to everything I was supposed to be. And slowly, as I got older, it became harder and harder to sit within those boxes. And I just started shedding things. First it was, I'm going to shed my notions about who I am as a person and what my beliefs are, what is my lifestyle, what are things I value in others and myself, what do I want out of life. And a lot of things I had cultivated in my life, like a career where I was climbing the ladder, did not line up with these parts of myself and who I wanted to be. And also, some relationships just started to feel like I'm the one serving the relationship, but it's not really coming back in equal measure. I'm a people pleaser. I'm still working through that people pleaser nature. I think that gets me in a lot of spaces that I really shouldn't be in because I am overcompensating, and then people get used to the pleasing and they don't reciprocate it, or they start devaluing you, or however they're looking at that. And that's a low vibe thing that they're doing. And when you're people pleasing and you're doing it against your own better judgment or your own intuition, you too are stepping into a low vibe space. Authenticity is a daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we truly are. That's really, to me, what authenticity is. It's shedding those things that don't work for you and embracing who you truly are. I was just talking to somebody the other day who was feeling like they never have enough knowledge to be considered an expert, even though I'm currently beta reading their books. And whoa, they are incredible. I was telling them if anyone was to read this book, they would think you were an expert and beyond so in spirituality. But they don't feel that way because of the way they consume the information and internalize it. And I said, yes, 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 exactly. I never feel like I truly have mastered a topic because my way of engaging with the topic is totally different than what other people do. And I used to try to sort of mimic or be like the other people. Like I need to know these certain quotes, I need to know these certain buzzwords, names, books, I need to name drop, book drop, research drop. I need to do all this kind of stuff to hint to people that I'm knowledgeable. But for me, when I take in the information, I take it in as a whole and it becomes something different. It's not just these things I remembered in a book that I've stored in my memory that I regurgitate on occasion. It's like seep down into who I am as a person. And therefore I think I'm not really smart enough because I'm not doing that name dropping, book dropping, research dropping way of being like everyone else's. And I've just digested the information differently. I think that has a lot to do with having learning disabilities as a child, not really being fully diagnosed or helped with that, although I was some, but I just developed all these different ways of coming at information to get around the problems that I had that I didn't know I had. It's really about acknowledging your strengths and your vulnerabilities, your passions and fears, and living in alignment with your values, living in alignment with what really matters to you. And if you are trying to figure out, well, what are my values? Because oftentimes our values come from our childhood and we've never evaluated that. It's a really good practice to get a sheet of paper or however it is you record things and record what your values are or virtues you think are important, like trust, honesty, being ethical, being kind, loving, compassionate, understanding, whatever those values are. Make a list of them so you can refresh yourself and then go through the list and ask yourself, is this truly my value? Is it somebody else's virtue? Is it something that I was taught? Because sometimes we tangle our values up in strange internal biases that we have in all kinds of things that come from our childhood that, oh, don't do this, don't do that, you never do that. A good girl doesn't do this, a good boy doesn't do that. Well, boys will be boys, so we can excuse that behavior, or all kinds of weird things from our childhood that we interpreted as a child with a children's brain, and we never looked at those again as adults to decide what is really true there and what is not, or maybe we even interpreted something in our past with our child brain in a completely different way than the reality or the truth actually is. So it's a good thing to look at your values and virtues you think are important and your passions and your fears and to ask yourself, is this really how I feel? Or did I pick this up somewhere along my journey through life? It's so helpful. You'll be amazed. And to really look at your vulnerability and your meter of how afraid you are to be vulnerable. Because oftentimes, if you're really afraid to be vulnerable, you never go into the space of authenticity because being authentic really means standing in vulnerability because people will push you. They'll do things to create upheaval in your authenticity. And so you have to live in a space of vulnerability to really be your true self. Embracing authenticity involves self-reflection, regularly checking in with yourself to understand your desires and boundaries. Honest communication, this is expressing your thoughts and feelings openly and respectfully. This is a really hard one for me. I've really worked hard on having critical conversations, on having effective communication, on being able to get my point across and still be valued. It is really, really hard. I need to do a podcast on it sometime because I have still not figured out how to have conversation where I can be vulnerable and not be taken advantage of. some of that probably is who I surround myself with, right? That's a work in progress for me, and maybe you too. All of these things are a work in progress. Setting boundaries is another work in progress for so many of us, myself included. Protecting your energy and saying no to things that don't align with your values. And I would suggest in this, your intuition will tell you, and you have to kind of hone your intuition a little bit about how exactly, when it's talking to you, when to know. And it's usually kind of easy. You'll feel it somewhere in your body first. When something happens that you immediately think, oh, you take that little in breath, or you have that little response, whatever that is, pause. Just pause and really sit with how you feel about it before you respond. And that might help you set a boundary or keep boundaries that you're trying to create. It's sometimes because you're so barrage, something's out of left field, or you're just hit with it, and you need a moment to pause to actually process it, because perhaps you aren't the kind of person that does that to other people. And when it's done to you, whatever it is that is creating this need for a boundary, it takes you by surprise every single time. So taking a pause and reflecting on it is really important and will help you know if, yes, this is a situation where a boundary needs to be in place, or maybe I'll explore it a little bit more, or I need to ask more questions about it, and just figuring out what your next move will be. Self-compassion is huge when embracing your own authenticity, treating yourself with kindness, especially during times of struggle. This is huge, something I talk about a lot. This is what actually my next book is on. It's working through challenges and tough times and change and insecurity and all those things which require self-compassion. It's really important to find that for yourself. And it's kind of hard to identify sometimes if you've never given yourself any compassion, especially if you struggle with feeling worthy or self-love or all those other things. It's hard to find self-compassion. And just approach yourself as you would if you were your own best friend. What would you say or do to that person if they were in your situation? If you're looking at the news feed and something comes up that you find horrible and you just feel your entire body shriveling up and you feel a shortness of breath, tears at your eyes, or whatnot, think to yourself, what would you do if you were someone else, your best friend? How would you comfort that person? How would you come to them with compassion? And then do that for yourself. Studies show that even this self-hug motion of self-hugging can calm you and redirect your brain. Some gentle breathing, all types of things you can do for that. So, what are some practices you can add to your life that would raise your vibration? Raising your vibration is a holistic process, and it involves nurturing your mind and your body and your spirit. Here are some practices that can help you elevate your energy. So, what we're doing here is nurturing our mind, and sometimes our body, sometimes both, and our spirit, sometimes all three. And what are some things we can do? Mindfulness and meditation, of course. You hear me talk about this often. Some sort of consistency with a mindfulness practice can help you stay present and reduce stress. And really, actually, this is how I work with sitting with challenging situations. Even after, like I had mentioned in another podcast, that I got really upset at work a while ago, a week or so ago, and that sitting with it in mindful meditation really helped me feel clear about it so that I could go back and re-enter my space of work and tell a different story and do what I needed to do to stay in that space and not feel that I was being hurt or devalued. And that really involved forgiveness on my part. You can also journal. There's so many ways to journal. A gratitude journal is an easy way for high vibes. Write down things you're grateful for. It can really shift your focus to positive aspects in your life. If you really take the time to write down things that you're grateful for, and they can be things you've never had gratitude before. Like, I am so grateful for this pen right now that it has ink in it and it's kind of a cool color. I'm enjoying writing with it. I truly am. But I would never take the time to be thankful for this pen generally. Or I'm thankful for Kleenex because so many people have allergies now, myself included, and thank goodness for Kleenex. Just find things to be grateful for as you're picking them up, as you're eating things, as you're putting on clothes, whatever you're doing throughout your day. Be in gratitude for it and journal about things that are that are challenging you that you want to move on, or journal about the wonderful things in your life or the great things about yourself or accomplishments you've had. Really live into a space of feeling more gratitude and graciousness. Physical activity, of course, helps your mind, body, and soul. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym and really killing yourself. Any kind of really super strenuous workout or really going crazy. A lot of us do that. That was my culture my whole life until recently, and I still struggle with it now, was just being over the top in whatever physical activity I was doing. Oh, if I'm lifting weights, I have to be like lift more than the person before me that was on whatever the machine was. Or if I'm running, I've got to run longer every single time I put on my shoes to run. If I'm doing yoga, I have to like do all the most craziest postures. And I really reflected on that. Like, why am I doing that? That's taking away from the joy and the energy shifts that happen when working out, because now I've made it into this very bizarre competition for myself, I guess, and other people who might be in the same space as me at the time. That's so low vibe. Just enjoy physical activity for what it is. Sometimes it's just sitting at your desk and doing a stretch and raising your arms and twisting. Sometimes it's going for a walk in nature. Nature connection, spending time with nature can provide you with a beautiful sense of peace and connection. Just feeling healthy and alive. Nature is huge for that. Healthy nutrition, consuming nourishing foods can help your health and your overall well-being, but also it can really help you feel like you're doing something good for yourself. It's almost like a self-care ritual, using healthy foods. Whenever I buy some healthy foods, like right now, it's summer fruit. Yay. Oh my gosh. Amazing. I just feel so good that I'm nourishing my body in this beautiful, healthy way, and I'm caring for myself. And that brings a lot of self-love in. A lot of these things that you do really fosters your self-love too, which is part of your soul. Creative expression. Same, right? Engaging in creative activities allows you to express your authentic self and find joy. It can also be frustrating if you're trying to paint something or draw something and it's not working out for you, but finding grace for yourself there in that space when that happens. But creative expression can really be anything. It can be how you decide to wear your clothes today, how you decide to do your hair today. It can be a doodle you do at your desk. I used to doodle all the time at my desk, and I made all these funny little things, or flowers, made up flowers. And there's that creative expression. It doesn't have to be this thing you're going to hang on your wall and sell for $1 million. It can just be creative expression, however you find it, in cooking and making your bed, and what your home looks like and what your garden looks like and what you look like, what your car looks like. Any creative thing can be a creative expression. And you can do it anywhere at any time, even something as small as phone case or a tennis shoe that you have. You can decorate those. Just find this creative expression in some way to express it. It doesn't have to be big and huge. You don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of supplies. Positive relationships. Surrounding yourself with supporting and uplifting individuals will enhance your energy. Boy, oh boy, is this true. So many of us neglect having positive relationships, right? I totally did. I thought anyone that would talk to me and give me the time of day was a relationship I should foster. I only recently realized how to look for my own people, for people that share a lot of my same beliefs or thoughts about life or thoughts about your spiritual journey. It was really, I didn't really realize positive relationships. So many of them that just come to us, right? Like all of our family, some of our friends, coworkers. We're not necessarily picking and choosing a lot of people, but you can foster meaningful, positive connections with those people, even if they're kind of crabby. You can set the tone and then step back if you're met with something else or they're angry someday or something like that. You should be there for them when you can, but I know a lot of people spend a lot of time in their anger mode and nowhere else, and it's very challenging dealing with someone like that. But if you can find a space where you can appreciate qualities about them, especially if they're your family member or someone you can't just say, see you later, it's very helpful. And then surround yourself with a support system. A support system is everything, everything. Just surround yourself with people that lift you up. Many of us have surrounded ourselves by people we're in competition with, and that is low vibe. Practice acts of kindness. Helping others can boost your mood and create a sense of fulfillment. Small acts of kindness are so easy. You don't have to buy someone a coffee, but you can help somebody by opening the door, listening to somebody when they're talking to you for a couple minutes. I just spent 2.5 hours in line this morning waiting to adopt my two foster kittens. I'm sure you've seen them in other videos. They're sleeping right now, which is cool, yay. And usually they're climbing up my leg and all this stuff. And I had to stand in line for 2.5 hours to adopt them this morning. This is my third foster fail. I still have more fosters that I found other homes for, so that's good. But I was standing in line and I struck up a conversation with the people all around me, and it was really wonderful. For 2.5 hours, we had this beautiful community where we all had this one thing in common. We had all showed up to adopt an animal that we saw online, or in my case, fostered, but was also online. We had a connection there, regardless of anyone else's anything else. There's all different kinds of walks of life there. And it didn't matter what our beliefs were or what we did for a living or how much money we had. In that moment, we all had a united community around this thing we all wanted. And it was just really wonderful, the acts of kindness that started coming out of that group. Everybody held each other's place in line. People helped each other go get coffee. People helped each other find parking. It's just really, really beautiful. Small little acts of kindness are important to feeling connected to the world. Limit negative inputs. So hard to do. You know what this is. Reducing exposure to negative media or toxic environments can help you protect your energy. And finally, I do this a lot on this channel, affirmations. Repeating positive affirmations can rewire your mindset and boost your self-confidence. There's a certain way. Use affirmations. I've done a lot of podcasts on that, and so you can look at those and get some ideas. Affirmations work if you're really consistent. You have a practice where you do it. You don't just say it one time and that's the end of the world. That's the end of it. You have to live into the affirmation, maybe even journal about it, think about it, talk out loud about it, whatever it is you're going to do. There's a lot of ways you can work with affirmations, but they can be very, very healing and really lift your vibe. Another thing you really need to do is letting go with love. I know. How does that happen? Letting go of others' expectations doesn't mean you're severing relationships or becoming indifferent. It's about releasing the need for external validation and choosing to live in alignment with your truth. This was something I really struggled with when I was a kid and my parents were alive, or I was an adult and my parents were alive, of just trying to find my own way in the world, because I did feel this burden of living up to their expectations, which I don't think that I ever truly did. Don't want to get into that because I can feel it bubbling up. But just being able to release the need for external validation, for their validation, in order for me to feel like I meant something, was really huge for me. And honestly, didn't really happen until after they passed. And I was able to retell that story to myself, still using the truth of all of it, but really understanding their side of where they were coming from. Whether it was something I subscribed to or not, their beliefs are important and meaningful to them. Approach this process with compassion for yourself and for the others. Just like I said, this is how I was able to forgive that person at work that was so mean. Just forgiving them and putting myself in their shoes and saying, okay, maybe they're feeling like this is strange territory for them and they're feeling unsettled and they need validation. And I can see that because I have that in myself. I've done all those things myself. So finding that compassion space, I was able to let go and forgive. Understand that everyone's on their own journey. Only you know what's best for your growth and happiness. And a lot of times things people do out of love and concern are kind of misguided sometimes. It's more they're trying to control you into a certain place and they think their way of getting there is the only way. And it's just really important to realize that this is your journey, your life, your truth, your authenticity, and what is that for you? Nobody else can tell you that but you. So embracing your authentic self and choosing to live high vibe life is a courageous and rewarding journey. But letting go of external pressures and tuning into your inner wisdom is very important. You can create a space for joy, peace, and fulfillment. It does take work. You can do it. You can catch yourself when you're in a low vibe situation and shift it around. And it doesn't mean you go around with toxic positivity. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it just really means you find the space to hold it all with grace and understanding and compassion for yourself and others. If this episode resonated with you, or you know somebody who might benefit from it, please share it. It would be great. If you have a story to tell, please let me know. You know how to get a hold of me, or you know how to comment, depending on where you are. Please do let me know. I would love to know what other people are doing to be high vibe and how they stay in the high vibe, because I care about you as a community. And whatever you're doing that's working, it might work for me or someone else. So tell us about it so that we can all be high vibe together. And if you're searching for something, tell us that too, so we can help you live your best life. And remember, you are worthy of a life that resonates with your soul. Trust yourself, honor your journey, and know that you are not alone. Know that I love you, know that I support you, and know that I care about you. So until next time, take gentle care of yourself and do one thing today that's high vibe. Start just today with one thing. You can do it. Take care, my friends.